Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring an underwater world in the heart of Germany that most people never see. We'll start in the nurseries of the shallows, where thousands of lives hang in the balance, before meeting the armored invader that has dominated these waters for over a century now. We'll track the ghost-like European eel, a critically endangered wanderer, and hunt with the striped perch. Finally, we'll enter the territory of an absolute apex predator that rules these waters, a real river monster. It's a story of survival, invasion, and the delicate balance of the deep. Let's dive right in. Deep beneath the surface of the Weimar Lake, a silent architecture defines the world. This is the realm of the Eurasian water milfoil, a dense, emerald green jungle that stretches towards the sun. To the human eye, it appears as a chaotic tangle, but to the residents of these waters, it is a masterpiece of biological engineering, exhaling pure oxygen into the water column and anchoring the sediment to keep the depths crystal clear. In this underwater forest, the light dances, filtering through a canopy that provides a vital sanctuary for the vulnerable and a hunting ground for the patient. But even in this peaceful sanctuary, the shadows hold secrets. As we push deeper into the forest, the water temperature begins to drop. The sun feels distant here. The green turns into a moody, bruised teal. It is here, in the cold and in the water, that we find something truly out of place. A tiny black speck flickers against the stems. It is a lonely tadpole, a hatchling of the common toad. Finding a creature so small and fragile at these depths is an anomaly. By mid-May, the shallows should be teeming with life. Yet, this individual has drifted far from the warmth of the shoreline. It is lost in a vast, cold wilderness, a tiny heartbeat pulsing against the crushing weight of the deep. It is a reminder that in nature, timing is everything. And for some, the race for survival begins in the most unlikely of places. Leaving the shadowed depths of the milfoil forest behind, the landscape of the Weimar Lake undergoes a dramatic transformation. The water grows brighter, illuminated by the unfiltered reach of the sun as we drift towards the shoreline. Here, the rugged geometry of rock formations replaces the soft soil, and the vertical stalks of the deep give way to lush, emerald meadows. The clarity here is amazing, a testament to the invisible labor of the lake's botanical residents. Dense carpets of stoneboard and milfoil act as a living filtration system. As we navigate this crystalline borderland, a strange, almost macabre sight emerges from the rocks. Slumped over the lake bed is a pale, translucent mass that appears at first glance like a discarded skin of a giant, perhaps a great catfish that has long since passed. It looks alien, a ghostly shape anchored to the stones. But as the distance closes, the illusion dissolves. This is not death, but a spectacular concentration of life. These are egg clutches, draped in gelatinous ribbons across the substrate. In these waters, there's only one architect capable of such a feat, the common toad, Bufo. A closer look reveals the miracle within the translucent jelly. They are embryos on the brink of existence, waiting for the signal to break free. Yet, as we continue our journey along the rocks, a haunting silence prevails. The eggs are here, but the water itself seems empty, almost like a desert. In the vast stretches of aquatic greenery, the expected swarms of hatchlings are nowhere to be found. By mid-May, the lake should be a chaotic nursery, but the stillness suggests a grim possibility. Perhaps the spring was too cold, the timing too late, perhaps this entire year's cycle has been broken already, leaving behind only the ghost forests of the plants and the lost generation that never made it to the light. The doubt is short-lived, however. Suddenly, the grey surfaces of a submerged rock formation begin to shimmer and breathe. What look like shadows are actually thousands upon thousands of tadpoles, a living carpet of black movement. They are gathered in a frantic, coordinated feast, grazing upon the brown biofilm and organic debris that coats the stone. Sensing a presence, the swarm reacts immediately with the collective instinct of a single organism. In a synchronized rush of tails, they dart away from the open water, seeking the skeletal branches of a fallen tree and the thick cover of the nearby plant forest. For these vulnerable young, the architecture of the lake is their only shield against a world that views them as nothing more than a seasonal snack. Also, their huge number protects them from predators. It's a numbers game. The more tadpoles there are, the higher the chances of survival for each individual. Most of them won't reach adulthood. In a quiet corner of the lake bed, a more intense drama unfolds. A dense cluster of nearly 200 tadpoles has formed a chaotic ball on the ground, completely obscuring whatever lies beneath them. As we hover over just beneath the surface, the world above begins to fracture. The calm, mirror-like ceiling of the lake is suddenly penetrated by 1,000 silver needles. A spring rain has arrived. From this perspective, the raindrops create a rhythmic, hypnotic static, a reminder of the thin veil separating the aerial world from this liquid one. But for the thousands of tadpoles that have just entered this life, the rain is the least of their concerns. A vast, hungry ecosystem is just waking up. And among the emerald shadows of the water milfoil, a different kind of inhabitant lies in wait. The depths are no longer just a nursery, they have become a prison for these tadpoles. The first predator we encounter does not hide in a slit or flee from our presence. It's a creature of heavy armor and stoic defiance. At first, it appears only as a dark, indistinct smudge against the vibrant green of the lake floor. We approach slowly, expecting the typical flight response of a shy crustacean. But this animal does not flinch. As the emerald haze clears, its formidable silhouette comes into sharp focus. The Spiny-cheek crayfish. This is a biological juggernaut. Its carapace is thick, textured, and lined with the telltale spines along the sides of its head that give the species its name. Looking at its massive size and the steady, rhythmic movement of its mouthparts, it is impossible not to think of the countless defenseless tadpoles it has likely intercepted. To this gladiator, the late-season explosion of life is nothing more than an endless buffet. But the spiny-cheek crayfish is more than just a local hunter. It is a symptom of a changing world. By now, in 2026, this species has achieved a grim total dominance. It has outcompeted and eradicated the native European crayfish from this lake and nearly every other waterway in the region. Its journey began in the late 19th century when it was intentionally introduced from North America to revitalize the commercial fishing industry in Germany and Europe. It was a catastrophic mistake. The spiny-cheek brought with it a biological weapon, the crayfish plague. While the invader is largely immune to this waterborne fungus, the native noble crayfish has no defense. Within decades, the indigenous populations were decimated. Faster, more aggressive, and able to thrive in the polluted or low-oxygen waters where European species would perish, the spiny-cheek has rewritten the rules of the German lakebed. It is a relentless colonizer that consumes everything, from delicate plants to the next generation of amphibians. If the spiny-cheek crayfish is the lake's armored invader, then this next inhabitant is its most formidable shadow. Resting silently along the lakebed, we encounter a large, serpentine figure. It lies curled beside a discarded glass bottle, a jagged, translucent monument to human carelessness that serves as a grim contrast to the sleek, ancient beauty of the fish and nature. This is the European eel, a creature that has haunted these waters for millennia, though its presence is now rare and a precious sight, unfortunately. While it appears motionless now, this eel is a master of the long game. Studies of their biology have revealed a surprising role in the ecosystem's balance. In many European lakes, invasive crayfish make up more than half of an eel's diet. By consuming the very invaders that threaten the lake's harmony, the eel acts as a silent regulator. Its small, dark eyes fixed in a state of suspended animation. We have likely interrupted its sleep. Eels are quintessential creatures of the night, waiting for the sun to vanish before they begin their active hunt. Under the cover of darkness, they become agile, high-speed predators, weaving through the water milfoil to intercept the nocturnal Spiny-cheek crayfish when they are most vulnerable. During the day, they are merely ghosts waiting for the moon. But the true drama of the eel lies in its journey. A story of endurance that borders on the impossible. Every eel in this lake began its life as a tiny, leaf-shaped larva thousands of miles away in the Saragossa Sea, drifting across the Atlantic Ocean for years to find these German waters. It's a migration of epic proportions, yet it is a journey that is increasingly ending in silence. Due to habitat loss, pollution and migratory barriers, the European eel is now listed as critically endangered on the IUCN Red List. This silent sleeper by the bottle is a survivor of a vanishing lineage. Rising from the lakebed into the sun-drenched midwater, the scenery shifts from the tangled forest to the vast blue-green expanse of the open column. Here, a flash of vibrant orange and dark, vertical stripes cuts through the haze. This is the European Perch, a staple of these waters, but this particular specimen is an anomaly. While younger perch are social creatures, forming disciplined gangs that hunt with tactical precision, this individual is a massive, thick-bodied veteran. It has outgrown the need for the pack, evolving into a solitary powerhouse that patrols its territory with the confidence of a seasoned bruiser. The perch is a marvel of evolution, equipped with a spiked dorsal fin, like a crown of needles, and tiger stripes that break up its silhouette against the flickering light, so its prey cannot see it. As a generalist predator, it is the opportunist of the Weimar Lake, aware that in this hierarchy, there's always a larger shadow waiting to emerge from the green. And as we drift into the deepest reaches of the lake, the atmosphere shifts one last time. The frantic energy of the tadpole swarms and the nervous movement of the perch fade into heavy, distant stillness. Here, suspended in the emerald gloom, we encounter the undisputed ruler of the Weimar Lake, the Northern Pike. It hangs in the water column like a prehistoric weapon, perfectly horizontal and utterly motionless. This is Esox lucius, a predator that has refined the art of the ambush over millions of years. Its appearance is a masterclass in camouflage. The pike's flank is adorned with a complex tapestry of pale, golden spots that break up its dark, green silhouette, mimicking the filtered sunlight as it pierces through the water milfoil. Its long, duck-billed snout and eyes positioned for binocular vision give it a focused and calculating expression, similar to that of an alligator. Unlike the smaller residents of the lake, the pike shows no fear as we approach. It possesses a chilling, calm demeanor, an arrogance born from being the absolute apex of this underwater world. In these waters, there is no natural predator large enough to challenge a fish of this magnitude. It does not need to flee, for it is the entity that everything else flees from. The role of the pike is vital to the health of this ecosystem. It is the lake's primary regulator, culling the weak and preventing overpopulation of species like the perch or invasive crayfish. Without the silent sentinel, the delicate balance of the Weimar Lake would collapse into chaos. It is a patient monarch capable of remaining still for hours, only to vanish in a blur of explosive power that can exceed its own body length in a fraction of a second. Its role is actually very similar to the role of sharks in our oceans or lions in the savannah. The tension in the water thickens. A shadow emerges from the haze. For a moment, only a jagged dorsal fin is visible, cutting through the water like a warning. At first glance, it seems like the sovereign has found his next meal. But as the second figure glides into the light, the truth is revealed. It's another Northern Pike. Although these animals are notoriously cannibalistic, known to devour any creature, even their siblings, when they are newly hatched, there is no strike. The spawning season, the only time these solitary hunters usually seek each other, has long since passed in the early spring. They are not here to mate, nor are they here to fight. They simply exist in the same space, two giants acknowledging the presence of an equal. Because they are of similar size, the risk of a fatal encounter is too high, even for a predator this bold and big. They drift past one another, two ghosts of the deep, maintaining a fragile truce in a world governed by strength. This journey through the hidden depths of the Weimar Lake has been a testament to the resilience and complexity of life beneath the surface. Projects of this scale, requiring hours of patience in the cold and dark, are only possible through the collective effort of a dedicated community. A huge thank you goes out to our channel members, Julius, Dottie, JVP, Ryder Cedric and Belgian Bugs. Your commitment keeps these stories alive. And this time, and for the very first time, a very special thanks also to Lorenz for providing the breathtaking underwater footage that allowed us to peer into the secret world. Without your support, this project would not have been possible. And if you found this glimpse into our local waters fascinating, please consider sharing this video with a friend who shares a passion for the diverse life found in German and European lakes. To continue your journey through the microscopic and majestic worlds of our waterways, you can click on the video on the right to discover strange microcreatures inhabiting the Neckar River in Germany, or explore the other featured video on the left. Thanks for watching.